Things are really getting heated between Elon Musk and Donald Trump with this new disgusting abomination of a mega bill, which now undermines all of the work over the past year from Doge. So if you're an XRP holder or you hold any crypto for that matter, this could play a serious role in impacting your crypto portfolio. So you're going to want to pay close attention. And that's because this new big and beautiful mega bill is now yet again going to increase our deficit, which we are going to cover in this video, and arguably harm markets in the long term. As you can see, going back to 2000, our deficit, which was only 25 years ago, was $236 billion. Since that point in time, it has climbed to $1.83 billion in 2024. Now, I believe this note is very helpful as a budget deficit occurs when money going out or spending exceeds money coming in, revenue, during a defined period. And our government is addicted to printing dollars and then spending money we do not have, which is arguably going to harm the middle class, the average American consumer, and our future through inflation. And although it's really hard for many of us to picture or even understand what $1 trillion really is, and we always hear about government spending, but we might not experience it on the daily, the stats and the numbers are true. Even the US M2 money supply just hit a new all-time high of $21.86 trillion right off of those lows in that dip in October of 2023. Again, we'll cover that in this video and what that's going to do for markets as there's this rift between Elon Musk and the Trump administration now that he's left Doge, and I'm sure he's left it in capable hands, but is now going to focus on his own companies. He still had a lot to say on the subject and isn't happy. So we'll be covering all of that and also a warning from the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, the largest bank in the United States and globally, on how you're going to see a crack in the bond market. They are sounding the alarm because US debt is completely unsustainable. It's almost like our own politicians are on a reckless path to destroy the US. Like children in a field of candy with no parental oversight. There's virtually no discipline anymore. Now, with that said, before we dive into the video, go ahead and head on over to Bullrunners HQ on Twitter or X, and be sure to check out that pin post to enter our $100 worth of XRP giveaway, which we do every single week. Congrats to Brad Meese for winning last week's giveaway, and every single week you have a shot to win. All we got to do is make sure that you're actually following the Bullrunners HQ, then like, retweet, and comment XRP below. And right now we have about 32 likes on this post. Not everyone is retweeted. And by the way, not everyone is going to follow through with that third step and subscribe. So yes, we do double verify that you've finished all 3 steps, and it is completely random. So you really have a shot at winning this thing. All you have to do is go to that pin post, follow these 3 steps, and when you're on the other side, either way, even if you don't win, the value is great because we're going to give you our free ebook, Altcoin Secrets, which will unlock the 23 secrets to help you become a crypto millionaire this bull market cycle. So go ahead and download that, enter your email, and we'll be sure to send that directly to your inbox. And as always, my friend, if you're feeling blessed and bullish, comment 777. And if you're going to be the wealthiest person in your family tree, smash the subscribe button. Hello and welcome back to the channel, my friend. If you're new here, my name is Paul, and you can find me on Twitter or X at PauliDeFi, PauliDeFi. This is really interesting news and arguably is going to affect the markets, which I will discuss closer to the end of the video in the direction I believe it will affect markets. But nonetheless, Elon Musk and Donald Trump seem to have had pretty strong relations throughout the 2025 Trump presidency. Then Elon Musk left Doge to go work on his other companies, which, by the way, he was never committed to do it for more than a period of time to get Doge up and running, to decrease government fraud, government waste, and ultimately try to get this deficit down to help the Americans. And in no situation or circumstance where a country is overspending but not bringing enough revenue without also causing the people to revolt by constantly raising their taxes to the point where they can no longer live a reasonable lifestyle. At the end of the day, the US is on a rampant path of financial collapse. And now with this new spending bill, Elon Musk has absolutely had it, as even on his own X account, just this morning, he stated, "I'm sorry, I can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination," to which I would totally agree. So it's quite shocking that Trump would want to sign that into. And here just this morning, Elon Musk on his very own X account said, "I am sorry, I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it." And this is both Republicans and Democrats. It has now passed Congress and has yet to be signed into law by Donald Trump, but it seems that he's in support of it because Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary, is supporting it directly from her pulpit. But he states, "Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it." To which I would actually agree. I'm kind of shocked that Trump would want to back a bill like this at all, considering it's only going to harm us in the long term and continue to increase our deficit, which is ultimately going to harm the dollar as bond yields surge, which is a rare and dangerous split, and we will cover that here in a second. So let's watch a quick video of Elon Musk talking about this on CBS this morning.
So, I was like disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the budget deficit, not just decrease it, and undermines the work that the Doge team is doing.
I actually thought that when this big, beautiful bill came along. I mean, like, everything he's done on Doge gets wiped out in the first year.
I think a bill can be big or it can be beautiful, but I don't know if it can be both. My personal opinion.
And now I think Elon Musk is likely going to be on another social media warpath to consistently show the American public just how insane our spending is, especially when it comes to our own important people in government. For example, he retweeted a post from Nick Sortor talking about it, saying, "Why is a hotel bill so high? The room service must be incredible." This is from Lindsey Graham partying, or better yet, staying in Ukraine for a month. And as you can see here, we were charged a bill, American taxpayers, of $411,000 for a month's worth of time over there. And so just this morning, we have Caroline Leavitt answering a question from Peter Doocy, who is a reporter that consistently asks the tough questions of any press secretary. Let's have a listen.
Caroline, how mad do you think President Trump is going to be when he finds out that Elon Musk said, "I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it."
Look, the president already knows where Elon Musk stood on this bill. It doesn't change the president's opinion. This is one big, beautiful bill, and he's sticking to it. Tamara.
Thank you.
Kind of shocking that she's doubling down on it. And arguably, if she said the wrong things or was consistently off in her approach to answering questions which did not align with the values and decision making of Donald Trump, then ultimately she would be fired. But it really does seem that this is one big, beautiful bill being passed by Congress and likely to be signed into law by Donald Trump, which will have massive implications for markets in the long run. And this is already having effects on the bond market and the dollar, which is actually starting to deviate. And this simply isn't normal, as the dollar is actually down, yet bond yields are consistently increasing on the 10-year treasury and hitting a new local high. And the reason this is occurring is because confidence is cracking. So in a typical situation, higher debt and deficits force bond yields up. Investors demand more return to hold a riskier debt. But here is where things are different this time. While yields are actually rising, the dollar is actually following, because investors aren't flocking into US bonds. They're simply demanding a higher premium to hold them. In other words, demand isn't actually as high for bonds. It's just they're a little bit more worried, and yet they still trust the US fiscal's responsibility or stability to at least pay them back, but that is eroding over time. And all sorts of major heavyweights in the financial markets are actually sounding the alarm. Not only is Jamie Dimon saying there's going to be a crack in the bond market, but even Ray Dalio, past CEO of one of the most successful hedge funds in history, basically told Bloomberg that he gives America 3 years, give or take, to avert an economic heart attack, that this bill would add $3 trillion to the debt levels over the next decade compared with existing estimates, and up to $5 trillion if certain temporary features were made permanent. And by the way, that's not including over the next decade all of the other bills they're going to introduce and continue to just let this thing spiral out of control. Not only are other countries wanting to flood into other safe haven assets, but they're actually demanding more to hold government bonds and treasuries. This is truly speaking volumes of people's lack of trust, or better yet, their lack of desire to hold the dollar, which is why it's actually falling. And Bitcoin exchange reserves, if I hop on over to the exchange reserves chart, is consistently declining. And on this dip we just saw to 104,000, currently sitting at 105,000, we saw even more Bitcoin being removed from exchanges. This is indicative of major institutional players and arguably even central banks quietly accumulating Bitcoin and crypto. And so when you see a chart like this where we're adding to the M2 money supply and hitting new all-time highs like we did back in 2020 into 2021, the markets are simply going to rally on all of that new incoming and the capital flooding the market. Now, yes, that's likely going to make asset prices soar or go higher, but that doesn't account for the amount of inflation that we're also likely going to experience. So if anything, assets might outperform inflation, but at the end of the day, only the rich get richer, and anyone who doesn't own assets or hold a lot of money in crypto or stocks is likely going to get harmed. In other words, the gap between the middle class will become even wider between the wealthy. We will become more like third world countries in terms of that wealth gap, which is not good. And that might take years or even a decade, but it's on the way if what Ray Dalio says is true. That said, the market really did like this spending bill, considering the S&P 500 bounced really hard off that $5,700 level and is now into new local highs going back to May 19th. So yes, I do expect markets to rally. I do expect Bitcoin and crypto and XRP to start to do well into the next month, especially with the approval and passing of this spending bill. However, it's likely not going to play out well in the long term for the US economy and the dollar. So right now, Bitcoin is actually looking pretty good from an investment standpoint. And again, I'm looking at Bitcoin and then I'll look at XRP because XRP is likely going to follow Bitcoin, and Bitcoin currently leads the market while everything has been lagging. Bitcoin hit a new all-time high here in May while XRP failed to, which means yes, Bitcoin is leading. That said, you do want to watch the leader. You do want to watch the quote-unquote index of Bitcoin in order to understand what's going to happen in the market. Now, what I like to do typically is just pull up those Rook EMAs that I have, the 10 and 20 EMA. You can see that we had a slight bear trap and a breakdown. We're currently trading now back above that 20 EMA and just between the 10 EMA. So by the time you're watching this, you might see it back above that 10 EMA, and I would like to see a higher high above the 106.8 range. If we get back above there and we actually close above that price on a daily time frame, I'm looking to be very bullish. Right now, I'm actually just sitting out of this move and waiting to see what happens, because it's very much possible and potential that we fail to break out, that this is truly just a new downtrend and we continue to maintain a series of lower highs and lower lows. We can dump even harder back down to under $100,000. So I want to watch Bitcoin closely before I start entering on something like XRP all the way, considering if you weren't already in, you haven't already taken profit, you haven't made a ton of money. The bounce has actually been pretty okay from that $2.08 range, but volume has severely declined. We're back below range resistance at $2.30, and arguably, if I want to be a serious bull, I'd like to see XRP break above 260. So I'm actually just kind of sitting this one out and seeing what happens right here at the 230 range. Do we get back up into a healthy territory right here? Do we climb back up to the 260 range? In this range, I'd like to add to a position, but I don't need to be adding to any major positions times right now, considering we are in a local very small term time frame from that local high at 260 about a little over 2 weeks ago, but we touched the lows at 208. So I'm going to wait out this price range. I would like to see a break above back into healthy territory above the 240 range. And that's it for the video, folks. Be sure to let us know in the comments what you think is going to happen between Trump and Musk and this whole situation going down between the White House and Doge. And if you haven't already, head on over to altcoinpro.com to check out Altcoin Pro University. For only $97 a month, you get tons of value. We have a team of professional analysts and DeFi researchers that not only share all sorts of altcoin picks that will help you to earn your money back, and we can't guarantee that, but we've had too many people winning with us for me not to confidently say that if you don't get any wins whatsoever over the course of a month, go ahead and ask for your money back within 14 days and we'll get it back to you. But the DeFi yield quick wins alone should be more than enough to help you to pay for your membership, especially if you're already sitting on cash and capital, which we have video tutorials to show you step by step exactly how to do them. And every single week, and actually throughout the week, one of our very own DeFi researchers, Mo, shares some of the best and safest yields in the market that can help you to earn your money back. For example, here is one at 25% APY, which is pretty safe considering it's literally a USDT pair on Hyperbeat. And he'll show you step by step how to do this stuff. But with just $5,000 in US dollars, essentially, you can earn enough to pay for this membership. In other words, if you're just sitting on this stuff already, you might as well take advantage of these yields, put it to work for you so you can take advantage of everything else that we have to offer inside of Altcoin Pro University. Because not only do we offer those yields, but every single week we are running live calls with our team of pros and experts. And every single Tuesday, except for this upcoming Tuesday, I host a live technical analysis call where I teach you everything you need to know about charting, about taking profits, about understanding pivot points and when to enter and when to exit, and how to look at cryptos, how to know whether one is strong or weak. And you even get access to courses like my technical analysis essentials in order to become a pro on the charts and make your own decisions by understanding what you're looking at, including what I like to call the 4 horsemen of technical analysis, which truly can make you a millionaire in the crypto markets. So if any of that or all of that sounds interesting to you, head on over to bullrunners.com, get that ebook, go to altcoinpro.com to check out this university. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. And by the way, every single day you wait as the bull market continues to mature into the next year or two, you could be missing out on a life-changing opportunity or a gain that'll put you ahead of the market. So thanks so much for watching the video. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Goodbye.